Sometimes I sit here and I wonder if I went too far. If the satisfaction I felt, the absolute, unadulterated joy of watching her face crumple, was worth the chaos I unleashed. But then I remember her smug smile, the way she effortlessly dismantled my career, my reputation, my very sense of self, and the doubt vanishes. So, I'm putting it to you, Internet. Was I wrong for what I did? Tell me, honestly, would you have done the same thing? Let me take you back to a time before all this, when I actually believed in the concept of a fair workplace, a place where hard work was recognized and talent was rewarded. I'd been at Apex Innovations for 5 years, steadily climbing the ladder. I started in an entry-level position, fresh out of college, brimming with enthusiasm. I worked my tail off, staying late, taking on extra projects, always going above and beyond. My dedication paid off. I got promoted twice, eventually becoming a senior project manager. My team was fantastic. My projects were successful, and I genuinely loved my job. I felt respected, valued, and I was on track for even bigger things. The company culture, while demanding, was generally supportive, and I had a great rapport with my colleagues and my direct supervisor, Mark. Mark was one of those rare bosses who actually cared about his team, who fought for our raises and celebrated our successes. We had a good thing going. Then, she arrived. Natasha. She was hired as a director in a parallel department, and from day one, something about her just rubbed me the wrong way. It wasn't anything specific at first, just a general air of superiority, a sense that she thought she was better than everyone else. She'd sweep into meetings, barely acknowledge anyone, and deliver her pronouncements with a dismissive wave of her hand. Her department quickly developed a reputation for being cliquey and difficult to work with. But I tried to be professional. I told myself that first impressions could be misleading, and that we were all on the same team. I even tried to extend an olive branch, inviting her to a cross-departmental lunch, which she politely declined, citing a packed schedule. I brushed it off, thinking, fair enough, she's busy. Oh, how naive I was. The problem started subtly. Small criticisms here and there during interdepartmental meetings, always directed at my projects, never her own. I just don't see the scalability of this solution, she'd say, looking directly at me, a slight smirk playing on her lips. Or, are we sure this methodology is robust enough for long-term implementation? Always phrased as a question, but delivered with the weight of an accusation. At first, I defended my work, providing data and rationale, thinking she was genuinely questioning things. But her attacks grew more frequent, more pointed. She'd subtly undermine my ideas, twist my words, and paint me as someone who wasn't a team player, or worse, someone who was incompetent. One particularly memorable incident happened during a presentation I was giving to the executive board. It was a culmination of months of work, a complex project that was crucial for the company's Q3 goals. I had spent countless hours refining the data, perfecting the visuals, and rehearsing my delivery. Everything was going smoothly. I was halfway through, feeling confident, when Natasha, who was present as a departmental director, interrupted me. "Excuse me," she said, cutting me off mid-sentence, "but I'm curious. Have we considered the potential for a 30% increase in operational costs if we proceed with this particular vendor, as outlined in page 7 of the internal feasibility report?" She then pointed to a specific slide on the screen, a slide that contained highly sensitive internal financial projections that were not meant to be shared with the wider executive board, let alone during a general presentation. The air in the room instantly thickened. My heart pounded. I knew exactly what she was doing. She wasn't asking a genuine question. She was deliberately exposing sensitive information to make me look bad, to imply I was either reckless or foolish for not addressing it. I stammered, trying to deflect, to explain that the report was a preliminary internal document, but the damage was done. The executives exchanged worried glances. The rest of my presentation felt like a forced march through quicksand. Afterward, my supervisor, Mark, pulled me aside. "What was that about?" he asked, his brow furrowed with concern. I tried to explain Natasha's deliberate sabotage, but I could tell he wasn't entirely convinced. He saw it as a misunderstanding, a misstep on my part for not being fully prepared for such a detailed query. And that's where the insidious nature of her tactics lay. She always left just enough room for doubt, for plausible deniability. This pattern continued. She'd subtly discredit my team, spread rumors about my capabilities, and even actively block resources for my projects, all while maintaining a facade of professional concern. She was a master manipulator, always smiling sweetly while plunging the knife. It started to wear me down. I found myself second-guessing every decision, constantly looking over my shoulder. My enthusiasm for work dwindled. My team noticed it too. They'd come to me, frustrated, asking why their contributions were being overlooked, why their hard work was being attributed to Natasha's department. I felt helpless. The final straw came with the annual leadership retreat. This was a prestigious event, a chance for all senior managers and directors to present their strategic plans for the upcoming year and a crucial opportunity for promotion. I had been working on my proposal for months, a bold new initiative that I truly believed would revolutionize our customer engagement. It was innovative, data-driven, and I was confident it would impress the CEO. The day before the retreat, I had my final meeting with Mark to review my presentation. Everything was perfect. He gave me his full endorsement, telling me he was excited to see me shine. That evening, I got a call from a colleague, Sarah, who worked in Natasha's department. Sarah was a good person, caught in a difficult situation. Her voice was hushed, almost a whisper. "You need to know," she said. "Natasha is presenting your project tomorrow." My blood ran cold. "What are you talking about?" I asked, my voice barely a tremor. She rebranded it, made a few superficial changes, changed the name, but it's your entire strategic plan. Your data, your research, everything. I felt a cold wave of nausea wash over me. She had stolen my work. Not just an idea, but months of meticulous planning. Late nights, early mornings, all of it just ripped away from me. I was speechless. Sarah explained that Natasha had been working on this behind my back for weeks, secretly accessing shared drives, subtly extracting my research, and then consolidating it into her own original proposal. She had essentially reverse-engineered my entire project and was going to present it as her own. The betrayal was crushing. It wasn't just my project. It was my reputation, my future at the company. Everything I had worked for, gone. I spent that night in a haze of anger and disbelief. How could someone be so brazen? So utterly devoid of integrity? I knew I couldn't let this stand. But what could I do? Confronting her directly would be a he said, she said situation, and Natasha was a master at turning things around. I needed irrefutable proof, something that would expose her for the fraud she was. I brainstormed endlessly, pacing my apartment, fueled by rage and coffee. Then, a thought sparked. A tiny detail, a hidden gem buried deep within my original project files. A small, almost insignificant detail that only I would have known to include. So that's the situation I was in, and I had to make a choice. I was facing the complete decimation of my career at the hands of a ruthless manipulator. Before I tell you what happened next, I want you to pause and comment below what you would have done in my shoes. Would you have let it go? Would you have tried to confront her, knowing her manipulative nature? Or would you have fought fire with fire? The next morning, I arrived at the leadership retreat early, my heart pounding like a drum. I found Mark and pulled him aside, explaining, as calmly as I could, what had happened. I showed him the original timestamps on my project files, the version control history that clearly indicated my authorship, and the small, almost unnoticeable Easter egg I had embedded deep within the code of my presentation's framework, a specific, custom-designed data visualization that, when activated, would display a unique, almost imperceptible watermark, my initials, cleverly integrated into the graphic. It was a habit I developed early in my career, a way to quietly claim my work in the era of easy digital sharing. Mark's face went from disbelief to understanding, then to righteous anger. He was furious. He knew my work. He knew my dedication. He believed me. Together, we formulated a plan. The presentations began. I watched as other directors delivered their proposals, trying to keep my composure. Natasha was scheduled right before me. She walked to the podium, a confident, almost triumphant smile on her face. She launched into my presentation, her voice ringing with feigned authority, claiming every single idea as her own. The room was captivated. She was articulate, polished, and delivered the material with an air of absolute ownership. My blood boiled. I watched the CEO and other executives nodding, seemingly impressed. I could feel the cold dread creeping in, the fear that this might actually work for her, that she might actually get away with it. Then, she got to the slide, the one with the highly complex, visually stunning data visualization that was my brainchild. She started explaining it, detailing its intricacies, as if she had personally crafted every line of code. This was it. This was our moment. As she pointed to a specific part of the graphic, explaining a particular data trend, I subtly pressed a pre-arranged button on the remote control that Mark had discreetly given me. It was linked to the presentation software, designed to trigger a specific sequence. Suddenly, a subtle, almost imperceptible shift happened on the large screen. The data visualization, for a split second, subtly morphed. And there, integrated into the very fabric of the graphic, clear as day to those who knew what they were looking for, were my initials, J.A. They weren't glaring. They were artistic, woven into the data streams, but undeniably present. They flickered, then vanished, designed to be seen but not easily dismissed as a glitch. Natasha faltered. Her confident smile wavered. Her eyes widened, darting from the screen to me, then back to the screen. She knew I had caught her. The CEO, a keen observer, leaned forward, his eyes narrowed. "What was that?" he asked, pointing at the screen. Natasha tried to recover, stammering, It's a new animation feature we've been testing, sir. A visual enhancement." But it was too late. Mark, seizing the moment, stepped forward. "Actually, sir," he said, his voice calm but firm, "that's a unique identifier embedded by the original architect of this particular data visualization. A signature, if you will." He then turned to me. Perhaps my name can elaborate as he developed this entire framework. The entire room turned to me. Natasha was pale, her face contorted in a silent scream of disbelief and fear. I walked to the podium, my heart still racing, but a surge of adrenaline gave me strength. I explained calmly and factually the history of the project, detailing my research, my development process, and yes, my digital signature. I showed them the original, project files, the detailed version history, the early iterations of the data visualization, all bearing my stamp. The evidence was irrefutable. The aftermath was swift and brutal. Natasha was escorted out of the retreat, her career at Apex Innovations, and likely elsewhere, in tatters. An internal investigation was launched, uncovering a pattern of plagiarism and manipulation that went far beyond just my project. It turned out she had been taking credit for other people's work across different departments for months. It was a scandal that rocked the company. I, on the other hand, was not only fully vindicated but also recognized for my integrity and my commitment to my work. My project was adopted, and I received the promotion I had been working towards, along with a significant bonus. My team was overjoyed, and I felt a sense of vindication, a profound relief that justice had been served. So, here I am, looking back at it all. It was a terrifying, stressful, and incredibly dark period of my life. But I stood my ground. I fought for what was right, and I won. And honestly, I wouldn't change a thing. The satisfaction of seeing her face fall, of watching her carefully constructed facade crumble, was truly priceless. It taught me a valuable lesson. Always protect your work. And never, ever let someone else dim your light. Like this video if you were on my side, if you believe in fighting for what's yours. Subscribe for more stories like this, where the good guys eventually win. And please, share your final thoughts on this whole mess in the comments section. Did I go too far? Or was it perfect revenge? I'll see you all in the next story.